What up, dope people? This is the Lions Roar vlog. We are on the first book of Adam and Eve. There are two books of Adam and Eve. If you've never heard of them, go to my page on YouTube, click on the Adam and Eve playlist. You'll see it there. The books of Adam and Eve, book one, and the introduction, and then all of the videos have about 3 chapters in them a piece. So you can go ahead and listen to the first one, you'll get through the first 3 chapters. You listen to the second one, you'll get through the second 3 chapters. You listen to the third one, you'll get to the next 3 chapters. You listen to the fourth one, you'll listen to the next 3 chapters. So on and so forth, okay? That's about how it's going right now anyway. So catch up if you haven't caught up, because I can't spend a lot of time breaking this stuff down and keep reiterating and going back. Sometimes I'll give a little backtrack real quick and then we'll go jump right into the information. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the books. The first book of Adam and Eve, chapter 16. It says, the first sunrise, Adam and Eve think it is a fire coming to burn them. So this is letting you know right here. This is very telling right here, because if they think that the sun is a fire coming to burn them, did they ever experience the sun before? And again, if they never experienced the sun before, were they in a different state? Like I said in the books of Genesis, by the way, if you go to the book of Genesis that I have posted, you're only going to see up to chapter 5. And when they get expelled out the garden, that's when the Most High told me to, hey, come over here and start doing the books of Adam and Eve. When you get done, you're going to go back up to Noah, and that's about where it plugs back in. And even at the top of the introduction, it literally says at the end of the books of Adam and Eve, puts us off right around the time of Noah. Moses would have written this, okay? That's why they say it would have came up out of Egypt somewhere, Egyptian. Well, it probably was written by Moses. It was written by Moses. That's why, because they was all up in that area, Canaan and all that. The Canaanite. You know? Do you know your stuff? Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and keep reading. All right. So after this, Adam and Eve were the first man and the first woman. Remember, Adam means man, okay, and Eve means mother of the living, okay. So that was not their names. Understand this. We're just using that to help us get through this information. That's just like the movie Nope, N-O-P-E. Good, great movie. I'm a movie guy. If you're a movie person, the movie Nope is really good. Very layered, very metaphorical. Like you can really break that thing down with somebody who loves movies and is very philosophical and loves talking and breaking things down. The movie Nope, you could talk about for hours. But just like in that movie, when one of the main characters named the being in the movie Jean Jacket, because they didn't have a name for it, right? So Jean Jacket may not have been the being's name wherever it came from, but Adam and Eve is just like that. It's like, okay, we're using this for the first man, Adam, and we're using Eve to say that she's the mother of all the living, or the first woman, okay? So after this, Adam and Eve ceased not to stand in the cave, praying and weeping, or the first man and the first woman ceased not to stand in the cave or praying and weeping. So they didn't have a problem being in that cave, praying and weeping until the morning dawned upon them. And they didn't stop. And when they saw the light return to them, they restrained from fear and strengthened their hearts. Okay? Then Adam began to come out of the cave. And when he had come to the mouth of it and stood and turned his face toward the east and saw the sun rise in glowing rays and felt the heat thereof on his body, he was afraid of it and thought in his heart that this flame came forth to plague him. So everything's new. You can imagine, man, the early humans was probably tripping on the planet like, what is that? So it says he wept then and smote upon and hit and pulled upon his chest, hit upon his breast, and please, Most High, and he fell upon the earth on his face and made his request, saying, O Most High, plague me not, please don't get me, neither consume me, nor take away my life from the earth. For he thought the sun was God. Wow. He thought the sun was the Most High. Inasmuch as while he was in the garden and heard the voice of the Most High and the sound he made in the garden and feared him, Adam never saw the brilliant light of the sun, neither did the flaming heat thereof touch his body. Very interesting. Heard the voice of God and feared him. It right there is not saying You know how in Genesis it'll say, "Oh, God was walking through the garden with his feet." Where's those two humans? um, this right here is giving a very different thing. And even when it says that the spirit was resting, the ruach was resting over the spirit, was resting over it was resting before anything was there. Understand? So that's a move, resting, moving. So if walking through the garden don't necessarily mean that it was literally walking through the garden. It says right here, Adam feared the voice, understood the impression, understood the spirit, knew exactly what it was, but did he really know what the spirit looked like? Or did he really know what the Most High looked like? God himself. It's very interesting, right? So let's keep going. Hold on while I look. I'm gonna drink something. Therefore, he was afraid of the sun when flaming rays of it reached him. He thought the Most High meant to plague him therewith all the days he had decreed for him. For Adam also said in his thoughts, as the Most High did not plague us or did not punish us with darkness, behold, he has caused his sun to rise and to plague us with burning heat instead. So Adam is distraught because Adam's like, man, we really messed up and I don't really know what's coming for us. And it's like already he's still kind of like having this issue with the Most High saying, look, bro, walk it out. Like, why do you think I'm going to destroy? I just told you I'm not going to destroy you. But Adam is so messed up from the fall from grace. He's like, man, this messed up. Man, what in the world do we have going on here? What is this thing? It's like, what is it? The sun comes up. Adam's like, what is that? Don't let this fire burn me, man. He thought it was God coming. He didn't know. That is so deep to me. Like, let's keep going though. But while he was thinking in his heart, the word of the Most High came to him and said, O Adam, arise and stand up. This is not God, or this is not me. This is not the Most High. This is not the highest one. This is not Elahi. This is not Elohim. This is not Yahweh. This is not God. This is not me. But it has been created to give light by day, of which I spake unto you in the cave, saying that the dawn would break forth and there would be light by day. So now we're starting to see that, yes, we literally pointed out that it was very metaphorical and also like parable type and like prophetic, but it also was literal too. So we're seeing that now. He's like, look, man, I told you, Adam. Okay. So, but I am God. I am the Most High who comforted thee in the night. So he's like, I'm with you. Even high noon when you be working hard and you stressed out and you gotta understand, God, this is what in the world is going on this earth. All them generations later, because I done felt it before, like, man, this ain't how it's supposed to be. What in the world? He says, oh, I'm with you. And even in that darkness and in the literal darkness that you and Eve are facing, Adam, I'm with you. And in the figurative darkness or the spiritual, the removing away from the high light until they climb back their ancestor, like what the Most High said, their species, their beings down the line come back up into where they're supposed to be doing, what Revelation talks about, what Ezra prophesies on in Second Esdras. Second Esdras is amazing. That book of Second Ezra and the Apocrypha, when I get there, I can't wait to get there. Anyway, let's keep going. And the Most High ceased to commune with Adam. So the Most High stopped communicating with Adam. All right, we're on chapter 17 now. The chapter of the serpents. Oh boy, let's see what's happening. Then Adam and Eve came out of the mouth of the cave and went towards the garden. Okay, back towards where they came from. But as they drew near to it, before the western gate, I imagine they probably was like, man, maybe we can try and get back and see, is this been fulfilled now? Are we, as our punishment, is that it? Because they probably like, just to experience what they experienced was probably so devastating to them that they probably, that's why they were trying to kill themselves. they, that's why they just didn't, they couldn't, it was like they were distraught. But it says, as they drew near to the garden before the western gate from which Satan came and deceived Adam and Eve, they found the serpent that became Satan coming at the gate and sorrowfully licking the dust and wiggling on its breast on the ground by reason of the curse that fell upon it from the Most High. And whereas aforetime the serpent was the most exalted of all beasts, now it was changed and became slippery and the meanest of them all, and it crept on its breast and went on its belly. Now that's very interesting. That's metaphorical and literal, like picturesque. Okay, and whereas it was the fairest. Nope, I just read that. Wait a minute. Okay, no. And whereas it was the fairest of all beasts, or one of the most beautiful, it had been changed and was become the ugliest of them all. Instead of feeding on the best food, now it turned to eat the dust. Instead of dwelling as before in the best places, now it lived in the dust. That could be metaphorical and literal. When you deal with the English, and when they sort of try to take the pictures of it, and they do this thing where they try to make it about like, oh, the snake coiled around the tree, and that kind of appropriates that, right? But since we've been dealing with so much metaphorical here, this is basically saying once was high and way higher and was regal. It's now eating the dust and crawling around on his belly. Dirty, nasty, ugly, right? Okay. So, and whereas it had been the most beautiful of all beasts, all of which stood dumb at its beauty or was awestruck, like, wow. It was now abhorred of them. It was now abhorred. Like, oh, that's horrible. Oh my God, wretched this being, right? And maybe it was in a different state. And then again, it evolved into the state of when it came onto the earth, instead of it having its legs and all the little appendages and all the things, now it's one thing swinging on earth. And honestly, look, when you do a research study on that snake species, they definitely have signs of coming up out the water. They're like, hey, they were definitely in the water first. That right there. Human, when you're born into this planet, are you not born into water? You can't. You're living in water when you first get here. And the only thing that connects you is a tube that goes from your middle of your beinghood to your mom that's connected to her. You're breathing in water. You're living in water before you even first come here. You have to grow in water before you are even allowed to experience this place first. I'm going to keep reading because I don't want nobody to be like, I'm going to keep reading because they like to call me crazy. So let me keep reading and not go too deep on y'all. I ain't crazy, by the way. I just love the Most High and the Spirit of the Most High. And as far as this world at large this society at large that I live in, and even the world, but specifically this society at large that I live in, they definitely don't like dealing with this piece of information, these types of information. I'm talking about these things with the scriptures and stuff like that. So anybody who really deals with it anyway, they call them crazy and, oh man, you crazy. You believe in that. Whatever. You believe in all the evil, darkness, decrepit stuff you believe in, is causing stuff all over the planet. You can't say anything to me about trying to get back to the higher morality, trying to get these humans back to the higher beinghood, trying to get these humans to understand the Spirit of Yahshua, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of the Most High is the way you do that, and to understand it like it's deeper than religion even. They don't even want to deal with that for real. But whatever, let's just keep reading. So... And again, whereas it dwelt in one beautiful abode to which all other animals came from elsewhere, okay? And when it drank, they drank also of the same. Now, after it had become venomous by reasons of God's curse or the Most High's curse, all beasts fled from its abode and would not drink of the water it drank, but fled from it. That's just even deep right there. Look, and again, whereas it dwelt in one beautiful abode to which all other animals came from other places, and where it drank, they also drank of the same. So they're coming from different places, but they're together in the same place, but different places. Understand? This is deep now. I believe it's mentioning in a different state of beinghood. Even the serpent came into a state of beinghood, slithering on the ground. The man came into a state of beinghood, like what the Most High told him. I gave you this skin with the heat and the cold. If you notice, the serpents are cold-blooded. Okay, they're not hot-blooded. They're not warm-blooded. I don't think they are. Right? I think they're cold-blooded. That's how come, like with brumation, they can freeze and they can brumate, and they're like they won't die. Alligators, crocodile, like. These lizard species, they're descendants of the snakes, of the snake. Okay, understand that. Look, let me tell y'all something right now. Science affirms and confirms the spirit of the Most High. Okay, period. So when you go look at science and you deal with a certain thing they call evolution, let me help you understand something. The men want evolution to be the guide, but you really need to look at the process of what they call evolution, or the advancement of the beings from one state to another, and then where that state finally sort of kind of takes a rest at, and what branches from there. Okay? Humans have not changed much, but we have, because even in science, they know that humans have gotten smaller. They used to be taller. Different things have evolved on us, but for the most part, we still have the same molecular makeup as we've always had it, as far as when we came into the state of standing, Homo erectus, standing up. But before that, I think it was a different state of beinghood. I have two pictures that I'm going to share in a video one day in a short, and I'm going to show you your real beinghood is still in your body, and if you didn't have bones and the structure of the skin encapsulating it, it would look very different if we were walking upon the earth without bones. In fact, would we even be able to? But if we were in water, we probably would be able to move through that, because we would not need the same body. Do you understand? That's why you come here in water, what I just said. And your body grows from your mother, right? She get all your bone structure, your hair, all that, skin, all that. It comes from the mom. It grows because of her nutrients that she gives you. That's why the woman's brain is larger. The woman has a part of her brain that is only active when she is pregnant or when she's about to conceive, have children, all that good stuff. And once that baby needs what it needs, boink, that part of the brain starts going, and because it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, what the Most High made it to do. Beautiful stuff. Let's keep going. All right. Okay, so wait, I need to look and see something real quick. Did I? Okay, 16. Did I read chapter 16 here? Oh, man. Okay, no, I think I started with 17, the chapter of the serpent. I hope I did. All right, chapter 18, the mortal combat with the serpent. Mortal combat. Doom, 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 doo, doo, doom, 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 doom. My video game heads know what that's all about. Go look up one of the first Mortal Kombat commercials ever, and you will hear that. All right, the Mortal Kombat with the serpent. When the accursed serpent saw Adam and Eve, it swelled its head, stood on its tail, and with its eyes blood red, did as if it would kill them. Okay, so it stood up, that's like a snake, right? It made straight for Eve and ran after her. They're beings at this point, represented as something else, I believe. This being hated them. You're starting to realize he didn't like them because it represented something. First of all, I believe one of the reasons was because maybe it was bitter that the Most High didn't do for him what it did for those beings. It could be a lot of different things. Maybe it was bitter that the Most High even made those beings in the first place. When you, okay, look, if, I don't know how many of you know the Quran, and I'm not saying for you to go read it, but if you are a purveyor of knowledge and wisdom, and you just like history and you want to understand more, I suggest reading it. But I also suggest if you follow the Most High, pray about it, because just like in the scriptures, there are some flip flops and things that you have to deal with. It's the same thing in the Quran. One thing that you need to know about the Quran starts with the Torah. It has many of the scriptures, I believe, Psalms, Proverbs, a lot of that stuff, and then it deviates at a certain point. Okay? Why is that? Because Ishmael, Abraham's son, is the progenitor of the Middle Eastern cultures. Hebrew. Starts Hebrew. Sure does. That's how come he follows what his father is, because they took that serious. Same with the Kebra Nagast, the Ethiopian scriptures. Same. Even though the Ethiopians were not the Hebrews, when the Queen of Sheba, who they are saying Makeda is her name, or that Makeda makes reference to the name that would have been closest to what she was called upon the earth, because there's a few different names, and I actually have a book that I'm going to read through about the Queen of Sheba when we get to that whole saga in Solomon. Listen, the Most High is going to reveal all. Through me, through others, he's revealing, okay? So if you don't know what's going on, you just don't want to know. You just want to be ignorant, or you just want to ignore, right? That's what ignorant means. It don't mean be stupid. It means ignore, because smart people can be ignorant. Intelligent people can be ignorant, okay? Understand that, okay? So understand that right here, they're different states of being. They're in a different beinghood. So this same being has it out for them. And remember the curse that went forth, they gonna be at each other, okay? So it made straight for Eve and ran after her and moved after her while chased her, because it don't have legs, right? While Adam standing by wept. Adam standing by crying. I'm sorry, that's funny. Wept because he had no stick in his hand wherewith to hit the serpent and smite the serpent, and knew not how to put it to death. So Adam's like, he's distraught. But with a heart burning for Eve, he loved Eve. He cared about her. He wanted to protect her. Adam approached the serpent and held it by the tail, when it turned towards him and said unto him, O Adam, because of you and Eve, I am slippery and go upon my belly. Then by reason of its great strength, it threw down Adam and Eve and pressed upon them as if it would kill them. But the Most High sent an angel, or a being, who threw the serpent away from them and raised them up. Okay? So, man, that's deep right there, right? Then the word of the Most High came to the serpent and said unto it, or hey, and also, let me, I got to say this, the Spirit just prompted me. That angel, higher being, higher spirit, sometimes you got to understand, that means he sent a word. He could have sent a literal energy pulse, like a, and it made the serpent move somewhere else away from them, okay, and raise them up, okay. Then, because remember what it says about Eve, when Adam tried to kill himself in the cave, and Eve was there and she prayed, and it says the Most High came upon Eve's mouth and raised her up to be able to speak to Adam. Okay, so you understand? We got to be following these things and paying attention, okay? All right. If you like this information, if you're following up to this point, hit that subscription button, hit that notification bell. We are about to go through everything. The scriptures, all the stuff they try to hide. It's about to get real good. Share it with somebody. I'm just saying, let's hurry up and finish. Okay. So he says, but the Most High sent the angel who threw the serpent away from them and raised him up. Then the word of the Most High came to the serpent. The spirits came to the serpent and said unto it, in the first instance, I made thee glib, okay? And I made thee to go upon thy belly, but I did not deprive thee of speech. So in other words, this being, they were not speaking English, by the way, but this being was able to communicate to other beings like the Most High could. Now, how could that be happening? They're two totally different types of beings. And just even when they were in the state that they were in the garden, they were not speaking English. So there we have it. That serpent communicated, impressed upon them. We're seeing it right here. The Most High says, he says, I didn't deprive you of your speech, of your way to communicate, of your way to send your vibration. Now, however, I'm sorry. Listen, these animals be communicating. These animals can communicate. I feed birds so much that birds start following me around. One of the birds got hit by a car one time. I tried to save it. When I tried to save that bird, all the birds started acting fun and different towards me in the whole area. I noticed when I would be walking to work, they would be birds that would be by me and they would fly and they would stop in a bush. And they almost made themselves visible to me. And they would leave the bush when I would walk by the bush and I would walk a little bit further. They would leave the bush. They would come out of the bush. I've watched them do it because I have watched it so much. I've noticed it. Like at first I didn't really notice it, but then I'm like kind of noticed. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I started watching them for days do this. They would leave the bush on the path that I'm taking. Birds are extremely good navigators. So if they're watching you and if they have an affinity towards you, they know how to be on your path and they know your path better than you do. They will go wait at your end destination when they know you're going that way. I'm telling you, y'all, I've experienced it over the last few years very much. These birds would then leave the bush and fly to a tree across the street. Guess what? I would be crossing at that point. Then when I would walk by that tree, they would fly and they would land in the parking lot of the place where I would cross the street, walk across the parking lot, going to the bus stop. They would be with me along the way, my entire path, even to the time. And I started I started learning how to mark them, certain markers that certain birds would have. And I knew it was the same birds. Well, because along my path, I would regularly feed them. If I'm eating a peanut butter sandwich on the way to work in the morning, just trying to hurry up and get where I got to get, hey, I'd be eating it. If I'm eating it and I see them, I'd break some off, drop it along the way. Peanut butter and bread. Popcorn. They love popcorn. I was feeding them at one place where I drove for a non-emergency medical transport service, little transport service, whatever, little taxi cab, a little upscale taxi cab, whatever. And I used to feed the birds in this, they had this really nice little area in the back where it was kind of like vegetations and plants and things. I used to put bird seed and all sorts of, the skunks would come eat the seed. There was all sorts of animals back there that used to come out and knew that I was there, that used to approach me and try to understand who I was. And they knew that I was feeding. They knew that I was different. These animals know, y'all. That's why I just went on this whole thing. They understand. These cats, these dogs, they understand. The dogs and the cats are starting to evolve even so much to the point to where they can almost, they are sending vibrations that sound like words, and the human knows what they're saying. The human can say something to them and the animal's going to say something back. And let's talk about the parrot. Let's talk about these birds that will literally mimic you. Crows that have, they say, the intelligence of a 7 or 8 year old human. Understand this. So it's not far-fetched what we're talking about here with this snake and this serpent, okay? Now, again, this is a read and response vlog, so I know you've heard me say, hey, I think that this was in a different being, this is da-da-da-da-da. But even if they were in a different state of being, he's saying right here, he could communicate to them. How? The same way that the Most High was communicating with them, but now the serpent is about to lose that. It's saying it right here. It's deep stuff. Like I said, they're not speaking English. They're not speaking English to each other. So that's even deep of itself. What was the vibration that was happening? What was the energy? What was the communication that was happening? Okay. So he says, now be dumb and speak no more. You and your race. Here's the thing. Here's what you got to know. The octopus is still sitting up in that water. Now, if you deal with it correctly, The octopus and snake are closer to beinghood than they're closer. They could be considered to be extremely distant cousins, but they're closer in beinghood. That octopus can telepathically communicate, and they know it can. They know now more about the octopus than they've ever known, and they know that the octopus can read brainwaves on a certain level, and they even are starting to do experiments where they're starting to understand that the octopus can send information through its thinking it or vibration that it can pulse out, and the being, if it's on the octopus's frequency, it would understand it. That's just even deep enough itself. So you see what I'm saying? That's why we have to study our science. Is that taking away anything from the Most High, or the fact that Yeshua the Son, he just told Adam and Eve right here in the books of Adam and Eve, I'm coming as a human. So it ain't taken away. It's just we must deal with the truth, because we know that men lie. We know it. They lied about the image of the Yeshua. He don't look like that. And it does matter, because it became beneficial to them to lie about it. And it's like it only matters when we say something about it, like, hey, this is not the case, y'all. And now here they come. They want to try and shut you down, and they got their media set up to try to make you be quiet. No more. That's over. It's not happening no more. Now, if people don't flock and pump this video up, and it's not 100,000 people and by the end of the year on this page sitting here watching these because they need to be fed, that's to be understood, because you got a lot of beings that just don't care about what's going on right here because they are of their father, the serpent. Or they're of that same energy that the serpent introduced to the man and the woman. But I still say it's very interesting how he speaks to Eve and the serpent and talks about how her seed and the serpent's seeds will be at each other. But the woman don't carry the seed. She bursts it through the egg, but the man has the seed. So why would he say that to the woman especially? She can have different... Hey, listen, this is why women have to be careful. Well, now, you know what? Let me say this, because even in the scriptures, because we're dealing with it from the scriptural standpoint, even in the scriptures, you have women who were having children by different men, and those children were all, if they are accepted by the Most High, they're all accepted. So please don't take offense to this, but a woman can have one man's son, another man's son, another man's son, another man's son, another man's son, and have 5 different kids by 5 different people, right? And if he was talking to different, hey, between this man and your seed, this, hey, and then this man, you and that seed, this, it's going to be totally different than what he says to this one over here. You understand? Do that make sense? All right, so let's keep going. So he says, because in the first place, he says, now be dumb and speak no more, you and your race, because in the first place has the ruin of my creatures happened through you, because it's your fault in the first place. And now you trying to kill them. So now you tricked them. First you tricked them. Now you're trying to kill them. I'm about to get at you. So he says, then the serpent was struck dumb and spake no more. A wind came to blow from heaven by command of the Most High. They carried away the serpent from Adam and Eve and threw it on the seashore, and it landed in India. What? You could be like, well, how was it called India back then? What it's saying is that to understand, to make the reference to, just like the intro to Adam and Eve said, men would have had to wait until a point to where they could have figured out how to communicate what they were trying to communicate in writing to even compile the information. So the fact that it says it landed in India, you just have to understand that's plugged in at some point. Like it landed in the land to the east. Understand, India is in the east, okay? So you could also say that as well, just even if, because this is an English translation, but this thing was not written by the English, okay? So understand that, okay? So let's go ahead into chapter, this is chapter 19. I hope I didn't do too many chapters here, but we're going to go ahead and go into chapter 19, and then the next one will be chapter 20. So yeah, Beasts made subject to Adam. But Adam and Eve wept before the Most High, and God said to him, Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, and said unto the Most High, O Most High, O Lord, O Highest One, when I was in the cave, this I said to you, that the beasts of the field would rise and devour me. He's like, look, man, we asked about this and cut off my life from the earth. But they don't even realize the Most High didn't already saved them, but they probably like really distraught now, like, man, this could get different. All right. Then Adam, by reason of what had befallen him, he smote upon his breast, pulled upon his chest, hit upon his chest again, and fell upon the earth like a corpse. And then came to him the word of the Most High, who raised him and said unto him, O Adam, not one of these beasts will be able to hurt thee, because when I made the beasts and other living moving things come to thee in the cave, I did not let the serpents come with them, lest it should rise against you, make you tremble, and the fear of it shall fall into your hearts. For I knew that accursed one is wicked. Therefore I would not let it come near you with the other beasts. But now strengthen your heart and fear not. I am with you until the end of the days I have determined upon you, humans. Okay? Upon you. And then it goes into chapter 20. Right here, I'm going to stop. I think I just did 18, 19, or I'm sorry, 17, 18, and 19. I think. I hope I did. I forget where I started, man. This stuff is so good, and I'm just, I try to somewhat like batch record these. So, and I love the content and the information. So it's nothing for me to sit here for 2 hours, 3 hours, and do this. I can do this all day. I love it. I really do. All right, so we're gonna stop this video here. If you made it this far, if this information has been good to you, please hit that subscription button. Please hit the notification bell. Share it with somebody who you think it would resonate with. Thank you for coming back and pushing play on this. Y'all be blessed. Definitely follow. All of it is posted in the books of Adam and Eve, book 1, the playlist. And also go listen to the first 5 chapters of Genesis as well. We're going to go back up to Genesis when we finish the books of Adam and Eve. It's 2 books of Adam and Eve. We're on book number 1. Peace.